A lot to the game, and he's right here.
Right now.
Online at thezone1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
All right, here we go. Welcome into this Thursday show. How are you? How y'all are? I'm Matt in the Bureau, Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau Insurance, go! With the home team. They are your home team at Farm Bureau Insurance across the great state of Mississippi. Thanks for tuning in. However you're tuning in, wherever you're tuning in, wherever you're tuning in from. See, that would be ending a sentence with a preposition if I end the sentence with the word from. But you get the point. I'm just glad you're tuned in. Welcome in on this Thursday. Some stuff to get into. My day kind of started weird a little bit. Something I hadn't thought of in a while. I saw something Jake Wimberly had retweeted. Somebody had this long list of thoughts of why Texas and Texas A&M need to play football again. And I thought, wait a minute. No. I don't agree with any of this. And so I tweeted the reasons that it was bunk. And now I've been thinking about it all morning. Wondering if I'm wrong about it. Trying to talk myself out of it. And so far I haven't been able to. So I'd be interested to get your thoughts on it. I'll bring that up to you in a minute to kind of tell you the details on that if you missed it. But welcome in. Y'all feel free to text me. I hope that you will on the Country Pleasing text line. It's 885-ESPN, 601 number, 885-ESPN. Or here's the number itself, 885-3776. Feel free to text me. I'd love to hear from you that way today on the show. And call me on the Divinity phone, 995-1059. That's a 601 number, 995-1059, 601-995-1059. That's the number to call me today on the Divinity phone, Divinity Equipment, Madison, and in Jackson, your Kubota dealer. It's a short, I'll give you a heads up, short show for me today. I won't be with you in the third hour. I'm here with you today for 2 hours. I've got ballet camp pickup duty. So, that's where I'll be later this afternoon, but we still get 2 hours together today, which is good. So get your texts in, your comments. Also, if you're on the live stream, hey to you. YouTube, Periscope, Facebook. We got some comments on all of it right now. Sven was first in here. I asked you on the live stream, I said, are you bored yet? Because I'll be honest with you, this past weekend, we're sitting around here, and I said to Annabeth, gosh, I don't know what to do with myself without a game to watch. I'm not as plugged into Major League Baseball as I normally am because of the TV situation. So, yeah, looking forward to football, start watching some old football tape. I was like, so are you bored yet? Well, Sven commented on YouTube, and he said, hello, and no, I'm not bored. Sunshine, he's in Germany. Play a lot of baseball with the kids, having a good time. If you get bored, he says, you're doing something wrong in life. That's how I see it. Take care of yourself. Good stuff, Sven. I agree. My mother used to say, only boring people get bored. Brahm on Periscope Twitter said, good afternoon, Matt. Hail State. It's a great day to be a Bulldog. Dave on Facebook gave us a what's up from Stark Vegas. He's tuned in there. Danny says, bored? Nope. I'm still yelling Hail State everywhere I go. All right, so the celebration continues. More on that in just a bit. On the text line, the Country Pleasing text line, 885-ESPN or 885-3776. Louvier says you could always just add the word y'all after the preposition. Where are you listening from, y'all? You're exactly right. I think what I was trying to get at a minute ago was, thanks for tuning in, however you're listening, wherever you're listening from. And you're just saying put a comma and y'all. So wherever you're listening from, y'all, you're right. That does it. That solves it, Louvier. Thank you. Y'all is a word, as far as I know. Jason, hey to you on Facebook. Yeah, all right. So real quick, maybe it isn't so quick. So that's how it started off for me today here, was I saw a tweet from somebody, someone I don't follow, but I have Jake Wimberly on a list. Okay, a college football list, or maybe it's just sports list or something on Twitter. Anyway, and he retweeted this, so therefore I see it. And it's somebody who has a podcast and it's about college football and other things, and it's a lot of Texas stuff, maybe Big 12 stuff, but this is a Texas tweet from this person, a guy named Kyle, and because it said hashtag this is Texas, hashtag hook 'em, and this is what it said. Texas versus Texas A&M rivalry renewal. It said, number one, Texas was initially at fault for the breakup, but they have an entirely new administration that has tried to get it started back up again. Texas A&M's current administration is the present-day roadblock. Number two, this guy says neither team needs this game from a revenue exposure, strength of schedule standpoint. It's solely been about keeping a 125-plus-year-old tradition alive. And as a school known for using their long-standing traditions as a pillar of their brand identity, Texas A&M saying that they have moved on is laughable. That's according to this person. The third thing was he said this game is important for college football and it should be played. And the fourth thing, he said he personally believes that the first games ought to be back at Darrell K. Royal Stadium since the last time they played was at Kyle Field, all this stuff. So it's kind of a Texas perspective on that. But I'm reading this, and as I'm reading it, I'm going, you know how it is. Like you'll see something that kind of pulls you in. You know, I probably should read that. Number one, we're not in Texas. I don't live there. I'm not a fan. Didn't play at one of those schools. A&M's down the league, so it's on the radar. Jake retweeted it. I ought to just move on, but I couldn't because I'm going, number one, wait a minute. It says Texas was initially at fault. Now A&M is the current day roadblock. Well, you can't separate then and now. It ain't been that long. It ain't even been the full, this will be what, 10 years, 10 seasons just now? Okay, so it just happened. You go, well, initially, well, people don't get over stuff in 10 years. Okay, so if Texas was at fault, they're still at fault. Okay, so you can't split that up as to who it's at fault, why Texas and Texas A&M aren't playing each other. Then the other thing it says, okay, neither team needs this game for a revenue exposure or strength of schedule standpoint. Well, time out. Texas A&M doesn't need it from a strength of schedule standpoint, which factors into the college football playoff, doesn't it? Yeah. But you know what? Texas needs it. I mean, for anybody from a Texas standpoint to look at this and go, well, Longhorns don't really need that game from strength of schedule. Yeah, they do. And it's probably a big reason why Texas A&M is like, no, because all in the world we're doing is helping Texas. We play this game because it's strength of schedule for them. We don't need it from a strength of schedule standpoint if we're A&M because we're in the SEC. We're playing Alabama, LSU, and Auburn, and State, and Ole Miss, and Florida every year. We don't need it. But Texas could really use a game on the schedule against an SEC team, let alone one that's a good SEC team. We're just helping Texas. Texas does need this from a strength of schedule. To say otherwise is just wrong. And in the third part, it said this game is important for college football. No, it's not. Okay, look, you have a ton of State fans that listen to this show. You have a ton of Ole Miss fans that listen to this show. You have a ton, well, I say a ton. You have quite a few Alabama fans and fans of other schools who listen to this show. Okay, yes, it's an SEC slant. But is this game, Texas A&M, important for college football? No. As evidenced by what? The last 10 years. Ain't nobody missed it. And Texas A&M knows that. So after the way things went down, and it was Texas's fault, after the way things went down, why in the world would A&M extend the olive branch right now when they've got the upper hand in every way? Why? It would make no sense. When all in the world you're doing is what? Throwing Texas? Why would you throw Texas a bone? Why would you lift them up? They may be getting up off the mat with Sark. At least let them do it on their own. Don't put them on your schedule. None of that makes any sense. It's purely a Texas perspective. The whole thing is what it is. And I'm coming to the phone, I promise, and then getting to your text. I got texts on it. I got calls on it. I got comments here on the live stream on this. My response on Twitter simply said this, is bunk. 1, A&M doesn't need it. 2, college football doesn't need it. 3, fans don't need it. 4, the SEC doesn't need it. 5, TV doesn't need it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only Texas needs it, and that ain't enough. And that's a fact. All right, let's start off. Well, let me hit 3 things, and I'm coming to the phone real quick. Sven says A&M doesn't need this Longhorn game for schedule reasons. No, they don't. You're exactly right on that. Nick on the Country Pleasing text line. Country Pleasing sausage on grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. Nick says Texas fans are like Nebraska, Michigan fans, still thinking like it's 30 years ago. That's why they don't win anything anytime soon. JP on Twitter says you're correct. Texas is. Something about Austin only, but thanks for the agreement. All right, over here to the phone line. Davini Equipment Phone. First up on line 1 is DJ. DJ, thanks for calling. What's up?
Hey, thanks, Matt. Just called in about the Texas A&M. I agree with just about everything you said. You know, Texas probably is the most arrogant fan base in the United States. Now, that's an opinion. There's no way to prove that. But, you know, the thing is, A&M certainly don't need the game. That was just it. Texas thought A&M needed them, and A&M proved that they didn't. But now I want to say this. As far as the national game, even when they were playing, did the country even care?
Nope.
You think about it. The game that the nation missed the most, and you remember the Oklahoma-Nebraska rivalry? That was a national game.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But do you ever remember Texas and A&M being even remotely close to Oklahoma, Nebraska, Alabama, Auburn, Ohio State, Michigan? I personally do not. I don't ever remember it being an important game unless you live inside the state of Texas.
Well, and I agree with you. And if you go back to like the last time Texas was really good, so what, 06 when they won the national championship, right? And this was long before SEC expansion. You know, back then A&M, you know, if we're being honest about it, you know, Texas was big time. They were a national team challenging for the title, but this was in the BCS era, and Texas A&M was not great and not on anybody's radar, right? So that's another reason that game, even when back the last time Texas was great, the game wasn't all that meaningful outside of a few people. Well, I'll say a few outside of fans in Texas. It just wasn't a big deal nationally. You're right.
I don't ever remember it being, you know, I'm in my 50s, and I don't ever remember it being a national game. But you remember Oklahoma, Nebraska. There were years that was the game of the year, even if you're not from that area, you know. Anyway, thanks, Matt.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me be a part of the show.
Thanks, DJ. I always enjoy hearing from you. Appreciate you calling. Flip it over to line 2. Rooster hanging on today. What's up, Rooster?
Well, hey, Matt. That station sounds back from the Field of Dreams and all that.
Yeah, thank you.
You know, I've been around a long time, and you've got these rivalries. I don't want to mess with Texas, particularly if Arch Manning winds up in Texas, you know. We've got these rivalries all over the country. How about Purdue, Notre Dame? You know, how about Cincinnati, Ohio State? But right here in our own state, nobody ever says anything about, bless their hearts, Southern Mississippi. State and Ole Miss ought to play those guys every year, and the game ought to be played in Jackson, Mississippi. Centrally located. It's a sellout. I guarantee you it is. Every year. If not a sellout, probably $50,000 at $50 a pop. Do the math. That's $2.5 million.
Yeah. Well, and
why
the thing
is that game not on the schedule?
Well, hold on one second on that, Rooster. You know, I will say State has played Southern Miss some over the last 10 years. If you look over the last decade, they played them in Starkville in 2014, then turned around and played them in Hattiesburg 2015. Those were both Dak Prescott years. And then this past 2 years ago, State.
They ever played that game in Hattiesburg.
Okay, well, 2 years ago, State hosted. So I think it was two. It's either 18 or 19 when Joe Moorhead's team hosted Southern Miss. And it was in Starkville. Okay, so they played then. And there's another one on the schedule sometime. I should know this, but I don't, Rooster. But they're going to play each other again sometime over the next 3 or 4 years. And I may be wrong, but I think it's returning to Hattiesburg for a game for Mississippi State. So State has played them. It has included going to Hattiesburg. The reason I jumped in on you right there is because I'm going, well, I don't have any problem at all with them playing that game whatsoever. They want to play it every year or every other year, whatever it is, but they ought to play it on campus, not in Jackson. That's my opinion.
No, it only seats 30,000 people. You just threw away $1 million in ticket sales.
Okay, so you're
It only
saying
seats
you're
30,000
saying
people. That's a lot.
okay, so you're saying if it's a Southern Miss hosted game, instead of Southern Miss hosting it in Hattiesburg, they ought to host that game in Jackson. Is kind of what you're saying.
The Mississippi legislature needs to mandate that game be played in Jackson. The county's broke. We got no money. It's broke. That's the problem. They don't want to fool with Jackson, Mississippi when we got a 60,000 seat stadium. It holds twice as many as it holds in Hattiesburg.
Yeah. Well,
The
see,
money
and
should come to
Rooster.
the capital city.
Well, and like
And
the
it's spread it around.
two times that I mentioned that State hosted Southern Miss, so like 2014 and then again in 2019, State was kind of glad, I think, to host that in their stadium in Starkville as one of the non-conference because they knew they would sell a lot of tickets, and they did. You know, they almost filled the stadium up for both of those games. Hey, Rooster, good to hear from you as always. Thanks for the call. You got all kinds of rivalries in college football. I was looking at the list. I got to thinking about it today, and there's a bunch that you probably are aware that, you know, are more high-profile games. There's a whole bunch of these quote-unquote rivalry games that make a lot of sense, and they play for certain trophies that are branded in those areas that you may not even know about. It'd be fun to kind of go down through the list, but, you know, my thing is, let's just, you know, you take any, if I try my best to take any bias out of the conversation, I ain't a big Texas fan at all. I kind of like Texas A&M, but take all that out. I'm just looking at it on the surface. Texas is the one who, in their own cereal bowl, back before conference expansion, Texas overplayed their hand. They misevaluated the entire situation and the whole landscape out there. And to the credit of Texas A&M and Nebraska primarily, but also Colorado and one other, I forget who it is, they got the heck out of Dodge. Texas stood on the neck of their own conference, kind of their own neck. They're strangling their own conference all these years just because they could, all in the name of the almighty dollar, and they got what they asked for, which is an exodus of some really good programs and teams that helped the strength of the conference. Now they're elsewhere. They're all better for it. A&M is much better for it. Texas is left over here in a weak conference, and now they're in the weakest of the Power 5 conferences, pretty much. And sitting here going, oh, well, yeah, I know we got divorced, but I don't hate you. I'd like to play you again. Okay? A lot of divorces in that way, where one party kind of is willing to come back and hook up, frankly, for old time's sake. And the other party's like, I wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole. I don't trust you as far as I could kick you. See ya. Bounce. And frankly, that's where A&M is. And how on earth could you blame them? Haven't made my point.
Point taken.
Let me see some of these other texts about this. Carlos says on our show, if I hear the words name, image, and likeness one more time, I might throw up. I know it is, Carlos, it is absolutely overkill, man. I mean, the media loves it, and you, the fan, the general fan, the majority of you, the general fan, and me, we don't care. Sick of it. Give me something else. Anything. And then you flip over to ESPN, it's wall-to-wall coverage of Roger Federer. All right, I read Nick's text. Danny in Ringgold, Georgia, texted the show, Country Pleasing text line. He says, Matt, could Texas A&M want the game against Texas because it proves that they are better than the old Southwest Conference, Big 12, and deserve to be in the SEC? Well, maybe so, but it's a why would you do certain things? It's just like what Rooster brings up over here, okay? Listen, Ole Miss has not played Southern Miss in football and ain't going to. Mississippi State has, but on their terms, and that is not every year, and strategically kind of scheduling it so that you're hosting at certain times and Maybe the occasional trip there, you're throwing a bone, but at a time when you're pretty confident you're going to have a better team and maybe go beat them, all that kind of stuff. Why? Because there's not a lot to gain from it. Ole Miss takes the approach with Southern Miss. Right or wrong, I'm just telling you what the approach is. Ole Miss's approach in playing Southern Miss is why? Why would we do it? You know, Ole Miss goes, you could play them 25 times and beat them 25 times. You don't get any credit for it because you're supposed to beat them. But all it takes is that one time where they slip up and beat you, catch you on the right day, and you just made their decade. Why would we do that? See, that's Ole Miss's approach. Right or wrong, I'm just telling you what it is. That's a fact. So if you against that backdrop, as crazy as it sounds, Texas is huge. They got all the money. They got the Longhorn Network. We get the whole thing. Texas is a big brand. They are. It's a huge deal in Texas. But Texas A&M, and they had this divorce. Like, cut it off, see you later, never coming back, divorce. And guess what? A&M is the one who moved on, and frankly, life is much better for them after the divorce. Why would they go dip their toe back in that swamp when they've moved on and they are over here on the palatial shores of the SEC? It just doesn't make any sense. Not now. Plus, we're about to expand the playoff. If Texas is any good, A&M may wind up playing them in the playoff. Then the game means something. But A&M's just not in that position. I'm afraid Texas folks just don't understand that. We'll help them if they listen. We'll help them understand. I'm Matt, just getting started with you. Coming to your messages on the live stream, YouTube, Facebook, and others. Josh and C-Dog and Will and Caleb. Y'all stick around.
When it's more than just your...
So, Matthew?
After these messages, we'll be right back.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
Jeans do come true. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt. Just answer the questions. BlueDeltaJeans.com. Answer the questions. Use this code. Use the code. You're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Hey, y'all, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. New stuff in 2021, including 5G coverage. If you go to their website right now, cspire.com, you're going to see their no bull, which, by the way, I love the Super Bowl ad with the slow motion bull. You're going to see that on the website. But look, they're right. There's been a lot of bull over the years in your wireless bill, depending on if, who you were with. And my experience with C Spire is just like they say, there's no bull. I know what it's going to cost me each month. I know what my coverage is the number one coverage in Mississippi, period, the number one network. And they've got 5G phones that are 5G ready. Now, I have the new iPhone 12 Pro Max, got it at C Spire, went and did curbside at my local C Spire location and did the exchange where I traded in my old one, got the new one, and it's 5G capable. And we've got 5G coverage in parts of Mississippi, and it's just growing by the day. So you really ought to check that out, okay? And in terms of the new phones, you got deals going on those as well. Find those out at cspire.com. C Spire, customer inspired.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, but this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy, better buy, better buy Bird's Eye.
Yes, always look for this Bird's Eye Bird, your guarantee of top quality frozen food. And your big bird.
The Matt Wyatt Show.
We have another totally awesome episode for you today.
And it's streaming right now online at thezone1059.com and on your radio on ESPN 105.9. The Zone.
All right, back with you live in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau Insurance. Go with the home team. They are your home team at Farm Bureau Insurance across the great state of Mississippi. Staying connected to you because of C Spire, the #1 network in Mississippi. C Spire, customer inspired. Check them out, cspire.com. They have deals going, by the way. I got an email today from C Spire about some of the deals that are going now on the iPhone 12. I have the iPhone 12 Pro Max, the big one. And it's the one with the one camera and 3 different lenses on the back of it, including the wide angle. And so if you're a video picture person, I will tell you it is by far the best camera on a phone I've ever gotten my hands on. I'm starting to use it more and more just for, everything that I do. In fact, if you were to look on my Facebook page or my YouTube page, remember last week in Omaha when I was broadcasting from the team hotel in downtown Omaha, and I interviewed the guy who caught the foul ball and got it autographed by Dak Prescott on national television, Josh Bounds from Philadelphia, Mississippi. And he sat down, interviewed with me live on the radio show from the hotel the day after it happened. Well, I filmed that whole thing with my phone, just holding it in my hand, synced up the audio, posted that interview on Facebook and YouTube, and it's somewhere in the neighborhood combined of about, 60 to 70,000 views right now. It's about 50,000 views on Facebook. People have loved it, especially his family and friends, people that know him. Well, that was just filmed the whole thing with an iPhone. And so the cameras are really incredible now. Check it out, cspire.com. You can get into it that way. All right. So texts on the Country Pleasing text line, 885-ESPN or 885-3776 coming up. First, though, some comments here on the live stream, some of the things we were talking about. Jason says he's all about Android phones. He doesn't like iPhones. Okay, we got you. You've weighed in, Jason. You got it. Looking forward to SEC Media Days. Josh said when we hired Mike Leach, they said the press conferences were going to be epic. Well, we're hoping that they are. We're hoping, that they are. Okay, Dave, on the previous subject, I was trying to remember when State plays Southern Miss again. And it is different this time, isn't it, Dave? All right, he says State will play Southern Miss again in Starkville in 2022. So it looks like that'll be the season opener for the 2022 season, State versus Southern Miss in Starkville. That's what it looks like. And if that's the case, then what? Was it a 2-for-1 on this new deal? Okay, so the last one was 14 and 15, back-to-back years, 14 in Starkville, 15 in Hattiesburg. So are we saying that now they went 2-for-1, where you played in 19 in Starkville, you're going to play in 22 in Starkville, and then later you play one in Hattiesburg? That's probably what that is. And that was in regards to Rooster calling us up, saying they ought to play every year. During that call, Drug Dog texted the show. He said, this guy is clueless. Jay texted in and said nobody wants to play in that dump. That was Jay. And then somebody else texted and said, Matt, the last Mississippi State Southern Miss game in Jackson drew 40,000 people. 25 of those were sold by Mississippi State. Okay, so you didn't have a full stadium. And then Eric texted and he said, Veterans Memorial Stadium is run down. There are high school stadiums in better shape. That's why those games aren't played in Jackson anymore. M.M. Roberts, 10 times better stadium. It's a nice stadium. Now, and Bill, you and I were talking real quick. Do we know, in fact, the high school championship games are returning to Jackson for another year? Do we already?
Yeah. We talked to the guy who took over, the brand new director. I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
He said they were going to bring it back here because they weren't real sure what was going to happen with COVID, so they had to make a decision. So,
okay.
As far as I know, unless they change their mind, as of right now, they're going to be playing high school championships in Jackson again.
Okay. Great.
They kind of need to know pretty early about that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Because if you're going to go to a school, you got to set that up, make sure that the team's not playing when you're going to be in town, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because like the last 5-6 years, they've been rotating it to the college campuses, which have been really good. But last year, understandably, COVID deal, everything was just totally different. They took them to Jackson, and to their credit, MHSAA and the stadium and everybody did a really nice job. They went off without a hitch, and you had good games and all that. But there certainly are some.
Yeah, and it was a lot shorter trip for a lot of the teams too.
Well, that's true.
The coast. And
that's true.
Being centrally located.
Mm-hmm.
So if you got to leave the coast and go to Oxford, or if you got to leave North Mississippi and go down to Hattiesburg,
Yeah, I mean, you're putting in some miles doing that for sure.
And the field held up pretty well considering how many games they played, because they had just done the academy games the weekend before had just been played there.
Mm-hmm.
And they got the field back in shape.
I'm kind of surprised at this point that Veterans Memorial doesn't have all turf.
It really needs a turf field. It really does.
I'm kind of surprised because honestly, it's not that expensive. I don't know the price tag, but I know the price tag has just continued to go down and down and down year after year.
And what you save on maintenance is amazing.
No doubt. But especially for weekends like that where you're getting a lot of use. Anyway, neither.
But as of right now, they're going to be back in Jackson. I'm here.
Okay. That's good to know. Josh texted the show. He said, my brother-in-law is an Oklahoma grad, lives in the Dallas area, and he cannot stand Texas because the Oklahoma-Texas rivalry is bigger than the Oklahoma versus Oklahoma State rivalry. That certainly seems to be because, those two teams are two big teams in that conference and have been ever since Nebraska and Colorado and A&M said, see ya, and got up out of there. And to get back to an even number, the Big 12 went and got West Virginia, which is weird. The best you can say about it. I mean, it's just weird. I made an analogy, and I think it works because it gets the point across. But what happened to Texas and Texas A&M, and the history of that goes back well before conference expansion for the SEC in 2012 when A&M came to the SEC. It goes back well before 2012, but that was the end of the end. That was not the signing of the divorce papers. That was the getting out of the house and moving on and never seeing each other again. That it was a divorce. Okay. And this is like what's going on with this Texas thing, constantly people beating this drum and wanting to play A&M. It's the classic thing of, a divorced couple and one has moved on and landed in a better situation than they were in before. And the one who isn't in a better situation says, hey, why don't you come by and visit? And the one who's in a better situation is like, no, are you crazy? I thought you were crazy. Jason in Flagstaff says, so Texas is the ex who gets drunk and lonely at 2 a.m., starts calling? Jason, what did he say before that? He said, yeah, Mullen was big on playing in-state teams, and he asked for those games against Southern Miss and Jackson State. Those have been fun now. Look, you're right. While Mullen was at State, they played Alcorn, hosted Alcorn. They hosted Jackson State at least once, maybe twice. I know they hosted them once. That was so much fun. The band was there. The Sonic Boom was there. It was just fun. And they played Southern Miss. Am I leaving some out? I guess that's the only ones right there. They didn't play Valley or something like that. I don't think they would. Res Dog texted and said, Ole Miss won't play Southern Miss, but will lose to Memphis repeatedly. Well, and Res Dog, I mean, let's be honest. Okay, back up and look at it. From a perception standpoint, are they better off losing to Memphis than to Southern Miss? I mean, especially now because, one, Memphis is closer to Oxford and Ole Miss. Two, they claim to want to recruit the Memphis area much harder than they want to recruit the Hattiesburg area. Okay. Number three, they probably do have more alumni in the Memphis area than they do in the Hattiesburg area. You know, from Ole Miss. Now, y'all tell me if I'm wrong, but that's probably the truth there. And then now, modern day, present day, it's not the Power Five, but Memphis is in the AAC, the American, with Cincinnati and UCF and those teams, and Tulane, whereas Southern Miss is in Conference USA, and you know, the pecking order in terms of conferences out there, the AAC is way above Conference USA right now. Okay, so, you know, far be it for me to defend and argue with you on it. I'm just kind of pointing out the facts on that situation. Unnamed texter said A&M doesn't need Texas. State and Mississippi, he says, don't need Southern Miss. They have the leverage. It's true now. I mean, Wally says that the divorce comparison was spot on. Micah in Batesville. What do we have here? Micah, your text is interesting to me. I want to read through it, make sure I'm familiar with the order because it came in 4 different texts. So I'll do that now while we have a little bit of a break and make sure I'm familiar. I'll come back and read it next. And I'll tell you what we'll do too. If we have time, we come back. We'll go ahead and do team number 58 on the countdown of 100 teams in 100 days, college football. We are 58 days from September the 4th. And so if we have time, we'll hit that when we come back also. Your comments on the live stream, your texts. You can call me on the Davini phone, 995-1059. Stick around.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Arrived today. Jeans do come true. Thank you, Blue Delta. Yeah, jeans do come true. That's what the bag says. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they are uniquely made for you and only you. Raw denim jeans, custom fit, hand tailored in Tupelo, Mississippi, my hometown. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit, design a jean, and before you know it, you'll be addicted. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase. Again, that's if you listen to me, you can use discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase, and at checkout, you're going to get a 10% discount off your order. So I just went online, ordered them, BlueDeltaJeans.com a couple weeks ago. Went in, I didn't go get measured. I just entered, what I knew about myself. I just answered the questions, and here they are at my doorstep a couple weeks later. Nice. Yeah, Blue Delta. Nice. I'm happy. I've known the Blue Delta team for years, and I'm thrilled to have these guys on as a sponsor of this show. Blue Delta's virtual tailor is a fun and easy way to get yourself into the best fitting pair of jeans you're ever going to own. Bet you never thought you'd get a butt shot out of me, huh? How about that? Just answer the questions and they fit absolutely perfectly. They couldn't fit better. So just go online, BlueDeltaJeans.com, answer the questions. It's amazing how they do it. They will fit perfectly. You're not going to find better material and better feeling pants, period, anywhere. BlueDeltaJeans.com. Use this code. Use the code. You're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. I promise you that. And I know that you are going to love them too. Make sure you use the code. And remember, jeans do come true.
After these messages, we'll be right back. Let me tell you about an ice cream can't be beat.
The very best tasting you can eat.
It's Meadow, 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 Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold. Go to your ice cream man today, and here's the word that you should say. Oh, give me Meadow, Meadow, Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold. And remember, folks, Meadow Gold
is mighty good.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
6 o'clock, dinner time. Thank goodness for Jell-O Instant Pudding.
Yes, thank goodness for Jell-O Instant Pudding. The terrific busy day dessert you can make at the very last minute. See how quick and easy. Just add it to cold milk and beat it up. That's all. By the time you're ready to eat it, it's all ready for you. Jell-O Instant Pudding, made by the famous Jell-O folks. So creamy, so nourishing, so delicious. No other instant pudding is quite the same. Stock your shelves with all 7 flavors. The good, good busy day dessert. Jell-O Instant Pudding.
On the 50,000-watt sports powerhouse, ESPN 105.9 The Zone, and streaming.
Check it out online now
at thezone1059.com.
Back with you in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau, go! With the home team. Check this out. Here, before I get to Micah's text, here's your Mississippi State baseball stat of the day. Since they are a national champion, they are deserving, I think, throughout the summer as we get closer and closer to football, of a stat of the day recognition. But this is more so not a stat. It's just some facts. And when you pile these up and really think about it, I want you to think about this. Somebody tweeted this. I just saw it a minute ago. I didn't plan it. A guy named Chris on Twitter put this out there. Y'all can fact check this, but I believe it's right. When you look at what state baseball has in terms of the SEC, how about this? State has the only 2 SEC Triple Crown winners. The only 2. Palmero and Rooker. State has the SEC career hits leader, Jake Mangum. They have the best ballpark and the attendance records, and now they have a national championship trophy to go with it. How about that? State of baseball school? There's a question for you. Is State a baseball school? Okay, we'll do team number 58 in the countdown. It won't take us long. That'll be coming up. In fact, you know what I need to do, Bill? I need to stall for about 20 seconds while I pull up my digital version of the Phil Steele magazine. Okay.
You're doing a pretty good job stalling right now.
Well, I'm trying. Hey, listen, have you ever gotten a copy of the Phil Steele College Football Preview magazine yourself?
No, I have not.
Like the actual? Okay. You know, they're kind of expensive. I don't know what they go for, but it's probably close to like $20 if you go pick it up in a grocery store or something. You know, it's not going to be cheap. Anyway, I've always gone out and bought the magazine. I always have. But for whatever reason, this year I didn't. I'm like, I'm not buying the magazine. I don't want to lug this thing around and have to stick it in my bag. It's thick. Okay. And I'm getting to the point where I'm old enough that if I have the actual magazine itself, some of the print is so small I can't read it. Whereas if I have the digital version, I can zoom in to infinity almost on my computer screen and really get a better look. Okay. So this year, instead of buying the actual physical copy, I saved a tree and I bought the digital copy of the magazine. Well,
man, you need to work a deal. If you're going to be talking about his magazine, he needs to let you have that thing.
Well, maybe it's not the cost. It's just I feel like the digital one's better. Okay, so I'm happy to buy it. But the thing is, it's not like you get to download it to your computer, because then you could easily share it with people that don't pay for it, sort of thing. So you have to go and like log in and pull it up every time. And I'll be honest with you, it ain't the best. And I'm starting to regret having not bought the physical copy.
Well, if it's a large file, it's going to take a minute.
Well, and it'd be pretty large to download all of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, I've got it, and I'll have details of team number 58 on the countdown coming up in a minute. Straight out of the Phil Steele magazine. Okay. Micah in Batesville texted, and he said, most of these radio and TV hosts are all saying that these college athletes are going to make millions with these name, image, and likeness rules. Who's going to pay athletes millions for sponsorship they already have? He says these Memphis hosts are trying to connect Landers Nolly, a Memphis Tiger basketball player, to Landers car dealership. They aren't going to pay a player millions just because he has the same name. They don't need him to sell cars. They have been well established in the Memphis area for years. Yeah, I think some of it is overblown. What's going to happen, Micah, is there will be some instances where you'll hear of some deal between a quote-unquote advertiser, but it's really just a booster who's loading up a player or somebody on their own team. And the money will be an exorbitant amount. Everybody go, whoa! Well, I got news for everyone. Okay, welcome to big-time college athletics. That stuff's been going on for years. It just hasn't been within the rules. It's been outside of the rules. It's still been going on. So,
sort of like that big deal I have with Wilson Sporting Goods.
Exactly, yeah. You got the same name. It ain't happening.
No.
Right. But you're also not the quarterback of Auburn. See, Will on Facebook says that Auburn quarterback is charging $50,000. Well, good, if you can get it. But I got news for you. He can charge all he wants to, and it doesn't help him win a ball game. Okay, and you go, yeah, well, I want to help him recruit. Well, will it? Everybody else can do the same thing. Anybody can. It's well within the rules now. If it's a rule, then everybody can play by that rule. You go, yeah, well, teams who have more money can have a better roster. Okay, tell me when that hasn't been the case. You must really believe in NCAA enforcement, because I don't. See what I mean by all that? Slippery When Rhett texted the show. And he says, my niece is an Aggie alumni. She went to school with Johnny Football. She'll tell you that A&M's biggest rival is LSU, followed by Arkansas. In 2019, Texas lawmakers tried to put up a bill forcing the game. Austin was the only place with support for it. How telling is that, Rhett? How telling is that? All right, let's do it. No, well, guess what? Now I need to stall just one more second. Because right now, as of right now, I have not put the team's fight song on my soundboard. It'd take me all of just a second here to do it. Countdown of 100 teams. There you go. We're stalling with the sonic boom. That sounds better. Countdown of 100 teams in 100 days. We're at 58. So we're not counting down to the first game. We're counting down to the first big full Saturday of college football, which is September the 4th. We're 58 days from that. And here we go. Team number 58 on the countdown is... the UAB Blazers from Birmingham. Bill Clark, the head coach, has done a phenomenal job. He is a heck of a coach. He wins everywhere he's ever been. He turned Prattville High School, my alma mater, into a powerhouse. They took over. They took everything over from Hoover in the early 2000s, and then he went into the college ranks. He's been winning everywhere he's been, including at UAB, before they killed the program, and immediately after they killed the program, he still won immediately. So, here's what you need to know about UAB. They were 6-3 last year at UAB, so they played 9 games. They're in Conference USA, play Southern Miss just about every other year, or every year. Bill Clark is in his 6th year. This will be his 6th year as the head coach at UAB, and he has a record of 40-22. I'm just telling you, he wins. Everywhere he goes, he wins. He wins bowl games. They didn't win it, 2 years ago. They lost to App State, but they've won a bunch of bowl games, in fact, under Bill Clark. Okay, last year in those 9 games, their wins were over Central Arkansas, South Alabama, Texas San Antonio, Western Kentucky, Rice, and Marshall. Okay, so 3 of their 6 wins, there was 5 wins in the regular season. 3 of their 6 wins were on the road. And they had losses to Miami, 31-14, to Louisiana Lafayette, 24-20, and at Louisiana Tech in double overtime, 37-34. I mean, so you look, they had a 4-point loss in the conference, a 3-point double overtime loss in the conference, and the other ones they lost to the Miami Hurricanes pretty bad. Other than that, I mean, they were very good, very competitive. 8 starters back on offense, 9 on defense. Who's back? They played 2 quarterbacks last year. They're both back. 2 guys that combined for about 1,700 yards throwing. The start of their season is going to be interesting because they're going to start the season on a Wednesday night. So you can kind of circle it on your calendar if you want to. So instead of Saturday, September the 4th, that previous Wednesday night, September the 1st, UAB will open the season in Montgomery at a stadium called Crampton Bowl in downtown Montgomery. I played a bunch of high school games there many years ago. And they're going to play Jacksonville State, who's in the state of Alabama, an FCS school who's very good and been very good in the FCS. And it's actually Bill Clark's alma mater. So the head coach at UAB, that's where he went to school. He actually coached there at one point. And so it'll be Jacksonville State versus UAB on a Wednesday night, September the 1st, to open the season in Montgomery. I'm actually going to try to go to that game. It's home and see those guys. Bill Clark won a bunch of big football games as a high school football coach in Crampton Bowl there in Montgomery. And I agree with Hook, who on the text line says, Bill Clark may be the most underrated coach in all of football. Trust me, I've been saying it for years. He will take his players and beat you, or he will take your players and beat his. He's that kind of coach. That wraps up hour 1. Hour 2 in the studio coming up next. Stick around.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
We are about to have a fire and cook some sausage. A country-pleasing sausage is outstanding, whether you cook it over a fire or in the house. Cook some of this right here. It's green onion flavor. You You see that? But this right here is my favorite, the maple flavor. And this is great for breakfast. It's awesome cooking it in the house because it makes the whole house smell good. Oh yeah. Let's eat country pleasing sausage, the best, hands down. If you go to countrypleasing.com, you can actually order this and deliver it to your house. Country pleasing sausage, hands down, the best. Trust me. Davini Equipment, Spring Ridge Road in Jackson, Highway 51 in Madison. Hey y'all, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. New stuff in 2021, including 5G coverage. If you go to their website right now, cspire.com, you're going to see their no bull, which, by the way, I love the Super Bowl ad with the slow motion bull. You're going to see that on the website. But look, they're right. There's been a lot of bull over the years in your wireless bill, depending on if, who you were with. And my experience with C Spire is just like they say, there's no bull. I know what it's going to cost me each month. I know what my coverage is the number one coverage in Mississippi, period, the number one network. And they've got 5G phones that are 5G ready. Now, I have the new iPhone 12 Pro Max, got it at C Spire, went and did curbside at my local C Spire location and did the exchange where I traded in my old one, got the new one, and it's 5G capable. And we've got 5G coverage in parts of Mississippi, and it's just growing by the day. So you really ought to check that out, okay? And in terms of the new phones, you got deals going on those as well. Find those out at cspire.com. C Spire, customer inspired.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Jeans do come true. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they are uniquely made for you and only you. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit, design a jean, and before you know it, you'll be addicted. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase, BlueDeltaJeans.com. I just entered, what I knew about myself. I just answered the questions, and here they are. Nice. Yeah, Blue Delta. Just answered the questions, and they fit absolutely perfectly. They couldn't fit better. So just go online, BlueDeltaJeans.com, answer the questions, use this code. Use the code, you're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn, and I know that you are going to love them too.
Crest Advanced Gum Restore. Yep, new Crest Advanced Gum Restore. It detoxifies below the gum line to restore your gums back to health in just 7 days. Exactly. Healthy gums, healthy mouth.
New Crest Advanced Gum Restore. Healthy, beautiful smiles for life.
WRKS Pickens Jackson.
Time.
It's time to get back to the Matt Wyatt Show.
Live in the studio.
Online at thezone1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
All right, here we go. Hour number 2 of the show. Off and running with you. I'm Matt in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau, go! With the home team. They are your home team at Farm Bureau Insurance across the great state of Mississippi. Your hometown heroes. That's your local Farm Bureau Insurance agents all across the state in all 82 counties. Hit them up. Look up favrates.com. Favrates.com. You can find an agent near you and save yourself a little money. Bundle your coverage like we've done here in our family. Really, 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 really tickled with Farm Bureau. Happy to tell you about them. All right, get your comments, texts, opinions, otherwise. I'll take your phone calls on the Davini Equipment phone, 995-1059, 601 number, 995-1059. I think we firmly established that the Texas A&M football game is not something that needs to happen unless you're a Texas fan or at Texas. You know, A&M doesn't need it. The SEC doesn't need it. TV doesn't need it. The greater college football audience doesn't need it. And I mean, in particular, A&M doesn't need it. So Texas does need it. And you could show a couple of reasons why, but that's not enough. So it's not going to be happening anytime soon. I think we established that. I feel like we did. I didn't get a whole lot of disagreement. Text me on the text line, 885-ESPN or 885-3776. It's a 601 number, so feel free to text away. And you can comment on the live stream. On the live stream over on Facebook, Sven and Sea-Dog had an interesting conversation going. And I honestly, guys, y'all been going on for a while, and I don't know exactly where to pick it up. Let me see here. And it involved Mullen and talking about recruiting. Maybe this is where it started. Okay, Sven on YouTube says, give Mullen his talent for 4 years and he'll win 2 to 3 national championships. I think he's talking about Kirby Smart at Georgia. He said, if you give Mullen all that talent, he'll win. Sea-Dog says, Mullen almost took down Alabama last year, and that was actually the true national championship he felt like between Alabama and Florida. Okay. Sven, who's a State fan over in Germany, responded and said, we nearly beat Georgia in Athens last season, and it was game 1 for JT Daniels. And, pointed out a couple of other things. And then it got around to the recruiting deal where Sea-Dog said, it's a shame Mullen can't recruit that well. Also, that game y'all played against Georgia was great. I was pulling for you so hard. It's funny to me how good they think they will be with JT now, but looked like crap in those games against Mississippi State and Cincinnati. Well, now, nobody wants to be the guy that I'm about to be, Sea-Dog and Sven, and that is, you're having a conversation, you two. I'm on the outside overhearing it. You didn't really ask me to come into your conversation, but I come stepping in to correct everybody and tell you where you're wrong. Okay? I hate to be that guy. You can have issues with Mullen's recruiting standing on its own. You can have issues with Georgia underachieving with its talent on its own. But if we're specifically referencing the State and Cincinnati games from last year for Georgia, here's what I want you to understand. And if you'll go back and look, if you were to take some time, you'd see what I'm talking about, okay? Georgia versus Mississippi State, regular season. It was JT Daniels' first game in their quarterback. The guy's the real deal, y'all. Trust me. I'm telling you, he's the real deal at quarterback. Well, his first game there, he had no running game. Mississippi State's defense shut Georgia's offense down. They held Georgia to, like, I'm not joking, like 8 yards rushing or something like that on the night. Yet, still, even though they had no run game, JT Daniels hit big play after big play. They had 4 or 5 huge explosive plays in the pass game. He had 400 yards passing and was like some weird, some crazy gaudy stat like 10 of 11 on third down passing or something like that, or 11 of 12. It was crazy what he was doing on third down and then hitting the big plays. It was his right arm, bombs in the pass game, and completions on 3rd and 9 were their offense in the game, and they beat State because of those 400 yards passing. And what I'm telling you is you're not supposed to be able to throw for 400 yards when you can't run the ball at all. Okay? Let alone when it's a quarterback's first game out there. I was so impressed with him. And I saw it in person. So impressed with him in that game. Okay? From a scheme standpoint, 3-3-5, nickel defense, moving guys around, Cincinnati did the same exact stuff. You could tell they watched the game where Mississippi State's defense all but shut down their offense were it not for JT Daniels, and Cincinnati in their bowl game did the same stuff. Lined up the same way, schemed it the same way, defended formations the same way, and had almost an identical stat line in an almost identical loss. They shut down Georgia's run game, Cincinnati did. And JT Daniels threw for 400 yards with explosive bomb plays in the pass game and completing the ball on 3rd down, which you aren't supposed to be able to do. Right? The deal is, every defensive coordinator will tell you, NFL, college football, high school, anybody will tell you, if I can make another team one-dimensional, I can totally take away part of their offense and just make them one-dimensional, we got a great chance to win. And if they beat us with that one dimension, we're going to just have to shake their hand and congratulate them after the ball game. Well, it happened to State, and it happened to Cincinnati. Why did it happen? Because of JT Daniels. Guy was great. Now, he could go out here and all year long for all we know. I just know he looks like the real deal to me. Just thought I'd jump in there and throw that at you, and you could look at it and see what you think. And I think film, stats, all of that will kind of back up what I'm telling you there. And if Georgia, let's put it this way, Georgia is loaded. And they actually have something this year they're going to play. They had Justin Fields and didn't play him. They have something they're going to put on the field this year that they haven't had on these past loaded Georgia teams, and that is a fire-breathing NFL caliber quarterback. All right, Hank Dog is on line 1 of the Davini phone. Hank, I appreciate you calling. What's up?
Hey, Matty boy.
Hey.
Happy National Championship / World Series win.
Happy Natty to you as well.
Listen, is that little sign out there in the outfield all they're going to do? We need a big-ass flag out there.
Come on now, Hank.
Really?
Well, okay.
Look, I was down in Mardi Gras the year that the Saints won the Super Bowl. They had a flag that was a half a block long flying on one of the tallest buildings down there. It was so cool. We need a big flag.
Okay, a big flag. What else?
Well, that suits me.
Okay, big flag. I'm taking notes, right here. We've talked about the statue. I don't know this. I don't have anybody telling me this. This is strictly coming out of my own head, Bill, but I think when the statue commemorating this national championship bunch goes up, it's probably going to be Tanner Allen and Rowdy Jordan, that picture of them when they had arm in arm walking off Dudy Noble Field for the last time after they beat Notre Dame in the Super Regional. Remember that photo?
Yeah, I agree. That'd probably a good one to use.
Yeah, I think that's what the statue will probably be. And again, that's just me guessing. So they're going to do some stuff. What I would tell you, Hank, is that when they put that sign on the outfield wall, it was it was 2 days removed from winning. See, they won on Wednesday night. They traveled on Thursday, 1 week ago today, and then they had the deal on Friday. So it's not like they had a ton of time to get a big flag printed up or something. So they'll have some cool stuff. It's just we hadn't seen it yet. Just rest assured in that, okay?
All right, buddy. Appreciate you. Love you, sir.
Thank you, Hank. Call me anytime. Is that all they're going to do? We need a big flag out there. And the Saints had a flag 2 blocks long. They'll do that, boy, Hank. On that note, Kyle just texted the show. And Kyle says, hey, Matt, in case anybody forgot, Mississippi State's national champs. Yeah, they are. Gabe texted the show. He says, man, I agree 100%. The only team that needs this is Texas. Talking about Texas and Texas A&M. He says, Texas, the drunk ex calling at 2 a.m. wanting to hook up. Y'all are great. Y'all are great. More Bully was wanting to know who Sea-Dog. I think Sea-Dog on the YouTube conversation, the YouTube live stream right now, is a Georgia Tech fan because he's got a Georgia Tech logo. I think that's so it's a different maybe Sea-Dog because you're spelling it a little different. More Bully. Hey, speaking of More Bully, he texts us and now he's called us. He's hanging on line 1 of the Davini equipment phone. More Bully, what's up?
What's going on, Matt?
Yo.
Double dosing me, huh?
It's okay. We can handle it.
Hey, man, I just forgot what I was going to talk about. Oh, I know what I was going to say. You know that flag old Hank was describing? You know he's just telling you that it's bigger than a big flag. That's all he was saying.
A BA flag. He didn't just say we need a flag or we need a big one. We need a big flag.
Yeah, that's bigger than a big flag.
He felt like if he said a big flag, we wouldn't get the point.
Yeah, I think he wants it to go in the 39759 and the 39701 zip code. Or 39730. Whatever Columbus.
He wants this flag to be big enough that when people drive up and see it, they don't just go, look at that big flag. They go, hey, man, look at that big flag. That's what Hank wants.
You got to be driving down 25 and get the cartridge. That flag.
He wants a big flag.
That's a good one, man.
That's
that
good.
cracked us all up.
I'm glad. Yeah, it got me too.
Hey, keep it coming, Hank. Yeah. Hey, Hank, keep it coming, but just calm it down for the kids. Okay?
That's right.
All right, man. Have a good one, brother.
You too, More Bully. Thanks. Yeah, y'all keep the 4-letter words in your pocket. We'll come up with some other.
That's a 3-letter word, man.
Well, you get the point, though. It's like golf.
I got you.
All the other 4-letter words were taken. So they did that one 3 letters. Oh, Hank. That was good. QB1 texts me, and he's got a good point here, actually. He's a fly in the ointment text here. He says, don't tell Mike Leach you're not supposed to have 400 yards passing without a run game. You got the point I was making, though, right? Louvier says, did he say the Saints won the Super Bowl? Say it again. Tell me more. Signed, Go Saints from Louvier. They did. See, that's the point. I mean, they won it in 2009. The Saints fans are still celebrating. State fans won a baseball championship in 21, 1 week ago. Get after it. Put up a big flag, according to Hank. Free American says, Matt, I agree about the Georgia quarterback, but the problem is coach sticks his foot out and trips the quarterback. When you don't win, it's the coach's fault. When you do win, it's the player's credit. That's what Coach Sherrill always said. Tip says, there is a flag on the flagpole at the stadium. Hank isn't paying attention. Okay, so we got a flag up, Hank. I don't know how big it is, but there is one. And somebody sent me a picture. In fact, Unnamed texter here. This is from the celebration they had last Friday. You could see it on the board there, and they put the national championship banner up on the flagpole. It's a regular size flag is what it is. Bill in Madison says, I don't want to be that guy either and complain about such a thing, but they need to at least say 2021 national championship instead of one national championship. But we can look, we can find anything to have a problem with. For instance, like people don't like that it says one national championship out on the wall. It needs to say 2021 national championship. And for instance, over here on Facebook, Lee Margaret says the flag's too small. And we can find some stuff, can't we? Blind Squirrel Sports on the YouTube live stream says when Georgia loses, it's the ref's fault. When they win, it's because they're awesome. Love my dogs, though. Yeah, you know, look, the referees are an easy target, aren't they? I mean, they definitely are. Hey, and speaking of all this baseball stuff, did y'all see this? I know it may seem like old news if you caught wind of it yesterday, but I'm guessing there may be some people out there who don't, or who haven't heard it yet or seen it. All right, Tanner Allen has his own website selling all kinds of cool stuff. Now, he is still an eligible athlete, but the thought is he's about to go highly in this next draft next week. Was it next week or 2 weeks? No, it's next week, isn't it? Should be next week. And so he'll go highly enough and he'll be done he'll be done with college, but he is still an eligible college athlete. But right after the College World Series, he came out with his own website. Tanner Allen, right fielder, Mississippi State, National Player of the Year, according to the American Baseball Coaches Association, SEC Player of the Year, hero in Omaha, has a website. It's called TannerAllen5.com. So Tanner Allen, then the number 5.com. And if you go to his website, the whole brand is TA5, TA the number 5. It's 3 digits, TA the number 5. You got TA5 merch, you got TA5 trading cards. There's a picture there at TannerAllen5.com of him with his name. He's got a deal where it's got his autograph kind of signed under his own quote, and it says a portion of all proceeds will go to the Mississippi State Foundation. The 4 years in Starkville will be with me forever, and giving back to the good people at Mississippi State is something I'm honored to do. Go Dogs, signed Tanner Allen, number 5. And if you click on the merch, you got like T-shirts for $25. You can get the Legends of Starkville T-shirt, okay, and it's a shirt that has that image that we just talked about may turn into a statue of number 5, Tanner Allen, number 4, Rowdy Jordan, with their arms around each other, walking, off the field for the last time. There's a 2021 National Champs T-shirt. It says TA5. There's another that has sort of his caricature on the front of the shirt. Him with his haircut and his beard and his eye black and sunglasses. And it says TA5. You can either get a white one or a maroon one. Those are $25. And then the other shirt is, remember his quote after winning when he said, I want to congratulate everybody in the state of Mississippi on this championship except Oxford, the people in Oxford. He said, and they've been on my back a little bit, so I got to throw a shot in there at them. Well, they've got T-shirts on his website that have like the outline of the state of Mississippi. It says TA5. It has an X over the spot where Oxford is, and the words on the shirt is accept Oxford. Not accept Oxford, like we accept you. No, like the exception, accept Oxford. And you can get one of those, a white one or a maroon one, for $25. He's selling those on his website. Trading cards. So you're talking baseball cards. Now, if you're a kid and you're a State fan, how much would you love to have this? Okay. And some of these are sold out. So let's see here. For $5, you can get a national championship baseball card, TA5, but it's not autographed. They have these limited editions There was only one card that had gold outline. They were selling it for $100. It's the only one like it, but you can get one with his autograph on it for $20. TA5 National Champs autograph card, $20. What's this one? All right, TA5 National Champs gold parallel autograph card. Only one of them exists, and it is already sold, and it's sold for $250. How about that? Anyway, so now this is a guy who basically just finished his career. You know, I was bringing up the draft. Sven commented on YouTube. He says Tanner's going to go top 15 for sure. He's going to be an early draft pick. All right, so he's moving on to pro baseball. But with name, image, and likeness stuff, why can't any player do this in any sport? And what's the big deal? You know, he's got his own website, wants to sell a T-shirt with his face on it. If somebody wants to buy it, buy it. It's an extra $20. Sell an edition of one card with one autograph on it for $250. Sell it. It'd be pretty good for somebody to buy that. He's pretty good. But I think you'll see more and more of this kind of thing for sure. Boy, and he had it ready too. And hats off to him. I wonder if I could put autographed playing cards of me on a website and sell them for $250. Reckon I could, or not $250. What about like $2.50? Reckon I could get.
I don't even know if you get that much.
Think I could give any away?
You got a quarter?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. You get a lot for yours, man.
That ship has sailed, old buddy, old pal. I understand.
You're a pretty famous radio guy now.
That's it. Mm-hmm. That's right. Spend the day with Matt for $20 and buy him lunch. Y'all stick around.
There's a lot of... After these messages, we'll be right back.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
Jeans do come true. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt. Just answer the questions. BlueDeltaJeans.com. Answer the questions. Use this code. Use the code. You're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Hey, y'all, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. New stuff in 2021, including 5G coverage. If you go to their website right now, cspire.com, you're going to see their no bull, which, by the way, I love the Super Bowl ad with the slow motion bull. You're going to see that on the website. But look, they're right. There's been a lot of bull over the years in your wireless bill, depending on if, you know, who you were with. And my experience with C Spire is just like they say, there's no bull. I know what it's going to cost me each month. I know what my coverage is the number one coverage in Mississippi, period, the number one network. And they've got 5G phones that are 5G ready. Now, I have the new iPhone 12 Pro Max, got it at C Spire, went and did curbside at my local C Spire location and did the exchange where I traded in my old one, got the new one, and it's 5G capable. And we've got 5G coverage in parts of Mississippi, and it's just growing by the day. So you really ought to check that out, okay? And in terms of the new phones, you got deals going on those as well. Find those out at cspire.com. C Spire, customer inspired.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, but this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy, better buy, better buy Bird's Eye.
Yes, always look for this Bird's Eye Bird, your guarantee of top quality frozen food. And your big Bird's Eye buy this week is Bird's Eye Orange Juice. Easy, you can serve it in a minute. Thrifty, it will save you.
More great sports for you, Mississippi.
Online transmission is ready, sir.
Live online at thezone1059.com and
Keep your radio turned on
to ESPN 105.9, The Zone.
All right, back with you, easing along here in hour number 2. Now, this is going to be my last hour with you here today. Instead of the normal 3-hour show, we got a 2-hour show today. And I'll be back with you tomorrow like normal. I will tell you, go ahead and kind of give you a heads up, let you down softly. I'll be out next week, family time for us next week. I'll be out. It happens one time out of the year for me where I'll step away from radio for several days in a row just to be off. This is it. It'll be right there next week because right after that, you get into the third week of July. That'll be SEC Media Days for football from Hoover. Unless something changes, I'll plan on being over there for that. I don't know. It'll be a little different, and some things will come out of that. But, we'll have SEC Media Days, try to be there. That'll be the third week of July. And then we come back that last week of July, normal shows in the studio, and then we get into August and practice starts. You'll start to have like practice reports and injury reports and press conferences every week. NFL preseason games start at the beginning of August. You have the Hall of Fame game at the beginning of August, which is Steelers and Cowboys. Saints are the second week of August, their first preseason game, which I think is in Baltimore. So all of that will start. And then you have high school football. I saw it today, just kind of put it in perspective. Well, let's see. For instance, Warren Central High School. I got them on my MHSAA list over here, so I get updates from them. And they put it out there today. 50 days from the start of their football season. Start of the Viking football season in 50 days. Warren Central versus Forest Hill. So it'll be Vikings Patriots, 5:30 kickoff on August the 27th at Vicksburg Memorial Stadium as a part of the Red Carpet Bowl. 2 games in one day in one city, weather permitting. So, I mean, that's how close we are to everything. I mean, it's just basically on us. By the time I get my toes pulled up out of the sand, we'll be back, and here we go. And I'll be looking forward to it for sure. A couple of texts to get to on the Country Pleasing text line at 885-ESPN, 885-ESPN, or 885-3776. B-Dog2 texted, and he said, my suggestion for the next baseball championship parade and celebration at Duty Noble, do it about 2 hours later and end it with fireworks. That'd be good. That'd be good. More Bully says, why are we going all instant gratification on a championship flag? We waited 300 years for a national championship. I want the flag now, More Bully, a big one. I want it to stretch 2 city blocks. When we're not using the flag on the flagpole, I want to be able to stretch it out over Humphrey Coliseum. Lay it over it like a tarp. A big flag. Jeremy says, you asked if MSU was a baseball school. I say we should embrace it. And he says, are there any negative effects to being labeled a baseball school? No, none whatsoever. No, not at all. Dog tired in Florence. Yeah, he says that number 1 represents the first. Yeah, we got it. Mm-hmm. I think they just want more than just the number 1 out there. In regards to selling baseball cards, trading cards online, Olivier says your card had better include a picture of the homecoming queen, maybe even half pint. Otherwise, I believe your sales will suffer. Just saying. Go Saints and Hail State. Gabe texted and said, Matt, I used to install these fans all across the South in distribution facilities. If Hank and myself makes 2, that means, he says, we are some big fans, and that's what it is. They're installing big fans. I think I'd heard of those at one point or another. Here's a name, image, and likeness text. You can either listen or stick your fingers in your ear and go la, 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 la for about the next 20 seconds. Free American says, I think the name, image, and likeness stuff was done right by TA. But there should be a tab saying something like, for appearance info, click here. Everything done behind the scenes, and don't let the public know how much you're making. He says, I've always been told, quote, don't tell your coworker because he'll try to get you fired. Also, the coach at Georgia has a reputation of not getting out of the way. He has multiple opportunities to win big and goes, wait, let's run the clock. And there goes the game down the drain. Okay, gotcha. All right. Yes, and Sven, real quick, he says, so you're going to be back on July 19th. Yes, it's my understanding. Isn't that the right date? Monday, July 19th is the Monday of SEC Media Days, and like I said, it will be from Hoover this year. Back at Hoover, I should say. Hey, Bill, let's play Name That Tune for a second. You ready?
Born ready.
Name this television theme song.
Streaks on the china never mattered before. Who cares when you drop kicked your jacket as you came through the door?
You got it?
Is that Leon Redbone singing that?
That's Redbone singing it. Kind of unmistakable, isn't it?
One spared. All hands look out below.
Hey, Blind Squirrel nailed it. Did you have the answer?
No, I've heard it, but I can't.
Okay. Blind Squirrel Sports on the YouTube stream nailed it. Mr. Belvedere.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Survival, but just might live the good life yet.
Oh, yeah. I just wanted to say.
That's great.
Leon Redbone.
Leon Redbone. The final episode of Mr. Belvedere aired on this day, July the 8th, 1990.
Mr. Belvedere.
It wasn't that long ago. It was on for 6 seasons. The years were 85 through 90. And, you know, what you remember is the main character, Christopher Hewitt, played Mr. Belvedere. But as far as the stars of the show, they were the family, right? So it was 3 kids and a mom and a dad and Mr. Belvedere, who was the butler. Well, the family, the dad of the family was played by Bob Uecker. You know, Mr. Baseball, voice of the Milwaukee Brewers, the funny man. That Bob Uecker. Yeah, so he was the dad of the family he played George Owens. And you had the mom played by Eileen Graff. And then 3 kids, Rob Stone, Tracy Wells, Bryce Beckham. You see that. It was a good show. It was a good show. It's an oldie, but it's certainly a goodie. Mr. Belvedere. Let's see, Christopher Hewitt. I don't think he's with us anymore. Let me double check this and see. The guy who played Mr. Belvedere, yeah, he passed away in 2001. So he was born in 1921, passed away on August the 3rd, 2001. You know, and George, Bob Uecker's got to be getting on up there too. Let's see here.
Just a bit over the hill. Just a bit outside.
Just a bit outside. 19. So he was born in 34.
Yeah, he's up there.
I mean, so what? He's pushing 90.
Yeah, going down in the front row.
Bob Uecker. What? And if y'all are wondering, okay, so what we're saying is Bob Uecker, who in real life did play a little Major League Baseball.
He was a catcher. Yeah.
He was a catcher. He just the running joke is that he was not good. Okay,
No.
but he got to play. And he always got to go on Johnny Carson and all this and make fun of how he was not good. But he became a great announcer, and he still is. He does some games, but for years he was the play-by-play announcer for the Milwaukee Brewers. He's taken a lighter load now as he's gotten older. But he was also, he played the character Harry Doyle in the Major League movies. Harry Doyle was the play-by-play announcer for the Indians. He was great.
Just a bit outside.
He's got a new pitch, the Eliminator, to go with his fastball, the Terminator, or whatever he said. And then Monty, the color guy, pipes in and goes, I heard that.
I heard that.
And there's this slight little pause, and then Harry Doyle says, dynamite drop in, Monty. That broadcast school really paid off.
That's the funniest movie.
Wasn't it great? Just a bit outside.
That's when it hit the mascot, right?
Yeah, that's right. Like he threw it in the on-deck circle, being the guy over there, and this guy's sitting, he's almost in the dugout, and the ball hit just a bit outside. Yeah, for the Indians, no runs on one hit. That's all we got. One hit. And then he cussed on the radio, and Monty says, you can't say that on the radio. And Harry Doyle says, what difference does it make? Nobody's listening anyway. Good stuff. Yeah, Mr. Belvedere. I hadn't seen an episode of that show in forever. Okay, when we come back, we'll get ready to wrap the show up with you in the next segment. Still got plenty of time left, and we'll jump over to the phone line, talk with you there a little bit, get to your texts, get to your comments on the live stream, and make it happen somehow, some way. Here today on this Thursday, I'm Matt in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Stick around.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Arrived today. Jeans do come true. Thank you, Blue Delta. Yeah, jeans do come true. That's what the bag says. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they are uniquely made for you and only you. Raw denim jeans, custom fit, hand tailored in Tupelo, Mississippi, my hometown. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit, design a jean, and before you know it, you'll be addicted. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase. Again, that's if you listen to me, you can use discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase, and at checkout, you're going to get a 10% discount off your order. So I just went online, ordered them, BlueDeltaJeans.com. A couple weeks ago, went in, I didn't go get measured. I just entered, what I knew about myself. I just answered the questions, and here they are at my doorstep a couple weeks later. Nice. Yeah, Blue Delta. Nice. I'm happy. I've known the Blue Delta team for years, and I'm thrilled to have these guys on as a sponsor of this show. Blue Delta's Virtual Tailor is a fun and easy way to get yourself into the best fitting pair of jeans you're ever going to own. But you never thought you'd get a butt shot out of me, huh? How about that? Just answer the questions, and they fit absolutely perfectly. They couldn't fit better. So just go online, BlueDeltaJeans.com, answer the questions. It's amazing how they do it. They will fit perfectly. You're not going to find better material and better feeling pants, period, anywhere. BlueDeltaJeans.com. Use this code. Use the code. You're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. I promise you that. And I know that you are going to love them too. Make sure you use the code. And remember, jeans do come true.
After these messages, we'll be right back. Let me tell you about an ice cream can't be beat.
The very best tasting you can eat.
It's Meadow, 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 Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold. Go to your ice cream man today, and here's the word that you should say. Oh, give me Meadow, Meadow, Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold. And remember, folks, Meadow Gold
is mighty good.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
6 o'clock, dinner time. Thank goodness for Jell-O Instant Pudding.
Yes, thank goodness for Jell-O Instant Pudding. The terrific busy day dessert you can make at the very last minute. See how quick and easy. Just add it to cold milk and beat it up. That's all. By the time you're ready to eat it, it's all ready for you. Jell-O Instant Pudding, made by the famous Jell-O folks. So creamy, so nourishing, so delicious. No other instant pudding is quite the same. Stock your shelves with all 7 flavors. The good busy day dessert. Jell-O Instant Pudding.
Are you ready? Brace yourself. Now back to the Matt Wyatt Show.
All right. This was a funny exchange. I don't know, sort of funny. On the live stream today on YouTube, Mobile Mechanic commented and said, I bought my Accept Oxford shirt yesterday when it launched. And then Sven over in Germany says the shipping alone would cost me $50. Yeah, that whole shipping overseas thing is a whole different animal, right? It just takes a lot more gas to get it over there, doesn't it? Good stuff. All right, over here to the phone line, Davini Equipment phone line, Davini Equipment in Madison and in Jackson. You're a Kubota dealer. Sean on line 1. Thanks for calling, Sean. What's up?
Hey, Matt. Yeah, just you obliged me for a minute or two. I was going to tell you how I got to Omaha. And because Zach was there, and I think he's the one that kind of coined the family not fans phrase. This kind of applies too. But
okay,
when I didn't go out there early like most of the people that I knew did, and then when I found out, or when it was evident that we were going to go to the championship that Monday, I decided I was going to go, and so I started looking at flights Monday afternoon, and could only buy a one-way flight because I guess coming back on that Thursday and Friday, or at least to Jackson, out of Omaha, there weren't any really flights back. So I decided I was going to get a one-way and catch a ride back. But my flight wouldn't leave till Tuesday the next day, and we lost that Monday. And I wouldn't get to Omaha until 10 o'clock that night. So I still just felt like I needed to go, and bought the one-way ticket not knowing whether we'd even play on Wednesday. But so anyway, worked out, got there, and had my suitcase, and had been coordinating with some folks that had said they'd give me a ride back to Starkville. Still trying to find a ride back to Jackson, but so I just took an Uber to the stadium, and of course the game started late. I didn't go into the stadium. They had these big tents set up, and the games were on TV. So first two people I meet, you know, of course we all know each other or know somebody that knows each other, and they're like, man, well, if we really need you, if you really need to get back to Jackson, you can give us a ride. We can get you a ride. Just let us know. So, but in the meantime, the guy that I was texting with, who said he could get me to Starkville, said, yeah, sure, come on, and you come over to our hotel, and if you want to, you know, crash with us, you can. So it's kind of hard to pass that up. So that's what I did, and of course went to the one game, which was the game that we won it all. And the next day we took off, drove to Kansas City, got some Gates barbecue, got into Starkville at 3:30, and crashed. And then I was fortunate enough to have my parents both still around, who were retired, to come get me in Starkville. So
and they drove you back to Jackson from there.
They did, but let me tell you something real quick. So I was starving. I'd only had that meal the day before, so I said, let's go to Starkville Cafe and eat breakfast, you know. And they're like, all right, we'll go with you. So we go in there, and I'd been sitting there for about 15 minutes, and of course, Rowdy Jordan walks in, and so he sits down, and my parents are kind of looking at me like, who are you looking at? I said, well, that's Rowdy. And I had bought a T-shirt for my daughter and, of course, one for my wife. And they see me getting up, and they're like, where are you going? I said, I'm going across the street to Sullivan's to get a Sharpie so he can sign this T-shirt for her. And they're like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. So I go across the street, and I tell them what I'm doing, and I'm out of cash, but I'm ready to pay for my Sharpie with a debit card, right? Well, the lady behind the counter goes, takes the Sharpie I have, goes back to where all the Sharpies are, picks me out another one, and says, here, this one will work better. Walk across the street and get your signature and didn't charge me for it.
Oh, that's great. All right, so hat tip to the fine folks at Sullivan's Office Supply. Well, hey, look, Sean, I really do appreciate the story. I'm so glad it worked out for you also. Thank you. Call me anytime. Man, I heard so many stories like that. People figuring out even just one-way travel plans, not even knowing what it was going to take to get back home, just with this gut feeling that I've got to be there. And in his case, Sean's case, they lose on Monday. He's not even guaranteed they're going to play on Wednesday. Still he's got this feeling like, I got to go. I got to get there. Isn't it strange how it's like people just know. People just knew. This somehow kind of just knew. Carlos texted me and he says, where can I get a hat just like the one you are wearing today? You can get one just like this and other styles at Country Meat Packers on Highway 49 in Florence. I don't know if they sell the hats online from Country Pleasing Sausage. That's what it is, Country Pleasing Sausage hat. White mesh back, Country Pleasing on there. Blue panel with a red hog on it. But you might get them on the website too. Just check out countrypleasing.com. Dog Tired in Florence says, I loved it when the squared away Monty would wound up drinking like Harry Doyle. Yeah, before it was over, they had him drinking in the booth too, didn't they? On Major League. Jason reminded me that there was some WrestleMania work in there for Bob Uecker because he sent me a screenshot of Andre the Giant choking Bob Uecker during a supposed interview at one point. Unnamed texter said, TA needs to show some class. Ole Miss in his head rent free. Yeah.
Oh, to answer your question about the caps, They have them pictured on their website.
They do? Great.
Yeah, they have all the different styles. So apparently you can get them on the website.
Okay. So there you go, Carlos. Thanks, Bill. Check it out. countrypleasing.com. I had yesterday for breakfast, I had a little green onion pepper jack sausage, and today I had 3 cheese. Super duper good. Today during the show, I've been sipping on Campfire Blend Coffee from High Point Roasters in New Albany, Mississippi. You ever notice that the best music and the best food just comes from right here? Like we don't have to go that far to get it. Food and drink. HighPointRoasters.com. Get your coffee there if you haven't already. Mansplain says, this guy's never heard the expression less is more when telling a story. Tip said that guy took 5 minutes to tell a 30-second story. Well, you know, it's a once in a lifetime. That's what it is, a once in a lifetime. For sure. Yeah, I would. Okay, so back to the text. Let's see. True Maroon says Tanner Allen owns Ole Miss, so he can do whatever he wants. Go cry somewhere else, and the term rent-free is for children 3 to 16. Yeah. I've seen some of that. I'll be honest with you. Like when I first, my initial reaction, when people brought up Ole Miss, like, you know, and Tanner took a shot at them, my initial reaction was, not here, don't do that right there. And then I think I actually said that to somebody. I don't know about it. I don't know that's a place for it. Why include them? They're not a part of this. And somebody said, yeah, well, you don't understand. And I said, I don't follow Tanner on Twitter, and I don't follow many people on Twitter, so I certainly could have missed it. But somebody said, well, you know, he had a bunch of Ole Miss fans just tearing him up throughout the year, especially back when they played Ole Miss, and he was tweeting them and they were tweeting him, and it's back and forth. There's a little history there, you know, and he said they were taking shots at me, so I had to take a shot at them, you know, so maybe there's something that goes into it. I think by and large, you know, I kind of moved. Initially, my reaction was, don't do that. Don't include that in this high road stuff. But then others said there was more to it. Maybe there is. I just wouldn't know, you know, from the Twitter part of it, honestly. But, and two, I mean, initially a lot of those things, there's an initial reaction that is a little more incensed than it is after you give it a week, than it is after you give it a month, than it is after you give it a year, and all that kind of stuff. But hey, I mean, you know, you're appealing to an audience, right? You know, different people take different approaches. Like you're trying to sell T-shirts, maybe you can sell some of those. Apparently they have. You know, I would compare it to, not compare, but there's a parallel. Like I would say, you know, a radio show in my time slot in Mississippi, if I wanted to just get attention, if I was just about getting as much attention as possible, I could get on here every day and say something outrageous or pick on someone every single day, and would probably, you know, pull a lot more attention than we do on some days. But choose not to go that route. It's just not what I'm after. It's like I said, there are a lot of shows who've done that. Some who've made a living, made a name for themselves of doing that right there. My approach is, if that's what it takes, I'll do something else. To each his own. That'll be it for today's show. We'll be back normal time slot tomorrow. See you then. For Bill, I'm Matt. See y'all tomorrow. See ya.